Hello and welcome to today's content. I'm preparing for the Golem raid that starts this Wednesday since it has been announced. I'll be going over the resistances and the recommended units to bring for ease of clearing, and for this raid item this time around it will be the Defense Bracer, which increases your missile resistance by 25% for 3 turns at the beginning, and then after the 3 turns the 25% missile resistance goes away. Without further ado, let's go. So first off, let's get to the resistances for Golem. It has a negative 15% base magic res, has a negative 10% base wind res. Important to note, all the other elements outside of lightning is 0%. So this means you can make use of almost any magic user that hits hard enough, pretty much. With the 10% lightning resistance though, it is very recommended to not bring units such as like Hleela or like Skull. Like stuff like that. He has 5% pierce resistance, 10% strike resistance, 25% slash, and 35% missile. This is very important because Lucia might struggle against this boss specifically, even though she is wind element. So the base stats as well is 30 defense and 0 spirit. Obviously, as you can see, the faith is also 90, so this boss is heavily favoring magic users. So what to bring to a Golem raid? What we want to bring is basically magic attack damage and wind magic attack damage. It's pretty simple. It works. Steal Time also works. Imperils work. Dispel works because I have to say Dispel specifically because this raid boss will buff itself for defense and spirit. Dispelling is very nice. It helps with the clear. It won't necessarily be needed, but it does help. It's specifically kind of catered towards Halloween Hleela. The Esper Killer is very nice as well because it's considered an Esper, so like the target share from like the sniper subjobs works, but you won't really ideally bring them because they're missile units for the ones that have that. And the damage you will take from Golem itself will be Earth type magic attack damage, so make sure to bring your smart codes and stuff. There's one thing to note for Golem that is immune to agility breaks, so no Trinity break, none of that stuff. So here we go to bring what units to bring for Golem pretty much. So DPS units, as I said earlier, there's not going to be too many wind type magics, there's very few in the game. It's going to be Halloween, Hleela, as well as Howlet. Both of these probably on auto, like even with like a decent scuffed setup, you could probably auto and be okay. As long as they have a good vision card and they have the Esper Resonance, you should be fine. So here is where it gets a little bit tricky. Hleela is here specifically because she has wind type attack magic, but she only has it for 3 usages and it's Imperil. The issue here is that Imperil helps significantly for more damage, but you're going to be hitting damage cap very easily with your wind magic attack units. And she only has 3 casts, so it's important to note that she does help significantly if you can't hit damage cap, but she is there. She's relevant enough, but she can't be a solo carry, pretty much. Yerma is another topic to talk about because as much as she gets mitigated by the slash resistance, she does have unit resistance down on her limit break, which is very significant, and she can steal time. Basically, if you're a manual player, and you did Yerma, you should be okay with it because steal time as well as supplying that single target resistance down. So for the DPS units that are wind related, Oldora is also there. Unfortunately, she can lower the defense of Golem, which is good against with physical units, though if you're running physical against Golem, it's going to be much rougher than running a magic composition in somewhat. Same with Lucia, she has the missiles only type attacks. It's going to be a very uphill battle. You could maybe work it out, but 35% missile resistance does go a long way. So here we have the first deviation, which is also probably going to be the most common team setup. It's going to be the magic slash holy stack. So because Golem's base light resistance is 0% and he has negative 15% magic resist, just hitting him very hard with magic attack types will be very useful. Kilfi is here in the red circle because she has her limit break, which will lower the magic resistance further by up to a max of negative 38% off her limit break. This is huge. This enables a lot of mages to be able to basically damage it and hit cap damage easily without even being the right type. Sakura also has Thunder's Light here. That's why she has the yellow. She does have that debuff. For lightning, though you won't be using lightning, light, and that will be very useful, especially for holy compositions. Median is here as she'll be a staple because she also has D Shell as from her Green Mage sub job, and she does good damage. She also has her Ice Imperil. Rosa similarly does have Ice Imperil. She can also follow up with either Ice type attack magics, or she has her own Holy as well. Shell is here, though it's a bit iffy. She does have Imperil. You'd have to work around it. She won't be a main carry, but she can fit in. Ayaka is there. It's a bit awkward. She doesn't actually have any type of wind magic type attacks, but she does have Holy, so she could use that to stack it. Ildira is there because she has the Holy instant cast, so she could definitely help there. Rain and Adelards, you can definitely see them clearing as well because they have their combo pretty much. The Resistance Break, the Shining Nova, Limit Break for fire resistance down, and Imperil. Those two can definitely have a viable strat against this boss. So if you really want to go slash, you could technically go strike as well, but I didn't talk about it because only Raldor has defense penetration, and Winter Venera does not until her EX, so I was a little iffy on that topic. I didn't want to talk too much about it. For slash specifically, if you really want to go, as usual, it will always be Gilgamesh or Winter Ramada for the slash resistance down, and you need armor penetration. Laswell has his self armor penetration, but he does have the Ice Imperil. So if you could literally do one Gilgamesh and like 3 Laswells, and you should actually be okay. I realistically believe that as long as you have the Ice Imperil. Runestern and Venera are there for the defense downs. They're going to be very crucial if you actually go for physical damage comp. And yeah, those are for the units, specifically for Golem. So moving on to like the equipment, as I said, always will be Ziza's bells. It will always be there. Additionally, we have Miranda's TMR. Miranda's TMR is very nice because it raises the magic attack types for your team. This helps for the first 3 turns if you're using magic attacks. It definitely helps hit cap more reliably, especially if you're not a wind unit or the bot Golem is not debuffed as of yet. So some defensive. Obviously, you're going to be taking Earth magic attack types, so using the Armor of Light and Smart Robe will be very useful. For vision cards, it'll be a lot of the standard. There will be a few mixes, such as like Trousseau can be replaced by the Typhoon one. It won't necessarily be better, but it definitely works. Especially it helps Hleela, like, what is it? I would say consistently hit damage cap without a chain. Let's go with that. Mind Flare will also be a very big vision card in play because as much as Two-Headed Dragon is for physical attackers, Mind Flare is specifically for magic attack typers. So yeah, for stuff like that. Defensive options, as you can see, Fenrir is magic attack type resistance, will help. I don't think it's necessary for Golem since he should be much easier if you have a good setup. So I would more focus on doing more damage with the offensive vision cards this time around. Now that we got Golem out of the way, let's talk about the resistances for the rare raid, which is the Tonberry. So Tonberry is at base negative 15% strike resistance and negative 10% fire resistance. You should already know just off the top of your head who this favors. From here, all the other elemental resistances are 0% except for wind being 10%. Its magic is 5%. Magic attack resistance is 5%, slash 15%, pierce is 20%, and missile is at 25%. The defense is at 30, spirit is also at 30, and the faith is 50. This means magic attack types won't hit as hard, but it's kind of like the golden cactuar we just had the last raid. It won't be too bad if you did actually just bring in rain again and just hammer down on the boss pretty much. So what you should bring is basically almost any other fire unit, strike fire damage and magic fire damage if you did. Ideally you want the same damage archetype. I'll explain later in the next slide what I'm talking about, and I'll explain it. So what you also want to bring is also spirit or defense debuffs if you have it, and your unit will use it on auto. It'll help it in basically clearing it more easily. or having penetration. Steal time does work on the boss. Imperils also work, and Human Killer also works. Ironically, Tonberry, Human Killer actually works on this, and it changes up a little bit on the dynamic on what vision cards you can bring, as well as what Esper panels you want to gain, basically. Tonberry is also blindable, so that's something to consider. The damage and status you'll take will be piercing, non-attributed fire elemental attacks, and stop. This means you must, I won't say must, but you really need a ribbon that is at least level 40? I think level 40. It does not even have to be awakened. Max awakened. It just needs to be level 40, so you get at least a 30% stop and slow resistance. But you need the stop resistance. It's very nice. Similar to Golem as well, Tonberry is immune to agility breaks. And here we go for what units to bring for the rare raid. It's very similar actually to the Golden Cactuar, very similar. So same setup for the magic users. We have Rain, Y'shtola, Adelard, Hleela. For what they have is they all have either imperil, like fire imperils, or like a D-shell or a D-protect. They're basically always going to be relevant. More so, Rain on auto will be much easier compared to the others, but they are possible choices. I will say the star winners and probably the more recommended compositions, if you want zero worry about probably clearing the raid, as long as you have a ribbon, and I say that specifically because ribbon is very important so you don't get stopped, pretty much. And it's going to be Raldor and Olid. Basically, Raldor does have the negative 38% strike resistance limit break. It will demolish the boss. Tonberry will get absolutely destroyed. Olid also has access to the monk subjob. He doesn't have defense penetration like Raldor does, but he definitely has good damage if someone does have him built up. I believe he's also a bonus unit. I should start adding bonus units to these slides. Sorry about that. Luasa's here, as well as Xmas, not Xmas, but I mean Winter Mashari. They both have the damage element typings, and they can also switch around to like slash or pierce. Ideally, Mashari can deal better because she has the piercing, because missile is at 25%, but you can always use the slash as well in Luasa. It would depend, specifically. Once again, if you want to go to slash archetypes, the two main slash imperils, and then the defense down users are all included there. For magic attack resistance, same thing. Kilfi is also always a staple for the magic resist down, and then the others are all going to be there for either imperils or just raw damage. If you want to make a strike team, or if the host or you, or there's a single person with a Raldor there with the LB, all the other units that are listed below can make use of that and use their strike type attacks. Ideally, you would want Glaciella because she has defense penetration if she does use her she does use her buff, but none of them actually have defense penetration. There is a single unit that does have defense penetration for this unit. This Tonberry, which is Lucia. However, she's not only counter elemented, but basically because she's counter elemented, I did not really want to specifically put her in there. Also, she's not a bonus unit at the same time, so it's like you'd have to really work around her weakness and her usage to try and even get in. If you have no one else literally, and you have like a friend or a guild and they let you in, that's great right there. You make sure you use the monk subjobs. So onto the equipment for offensive. Definitely the bells are always good. Oldora's apron will be very good here because Tonberry does have 30 defense. So using that at max level would make it down to 15%, which helps. It's 15% more damage. Oh, not directly. There's a lot of math stuff to say, but it changes defense from 30 to 15. We'll go with that. It's very nice to have. So for the attacking ones, as I said before, because Tonberry is classified, at least on the War of Division Calculus website, as a human killer should work against Tonberry. This means stuff like Odin, Titan, I forgot what it was called, but the New Year's Magic Vision card as well. Those will all work as well, all those archetypes. Ifrit obviously will probably be the best, especially for fire teams, but there are very large amount of vision cards you can use. It opens up basically more opportunities, and until regular Espers, until we get Esper killer vision cards specifically for raids, I would say, or like PvE, it's very unique, and it'll open up more variety to vision cards, because vision cards, what you use, are going to be very kind of similar, or it won't vary often when in raids. But as we go through and we get more vision cards that open up more opportunities, you will see them here. So specifically for Tonberry, because it's counted as a human, like as I said before, and I said it many times, human killer works. So for the defensive options, however, the Burgonet FF14 helmet has the pierce resistance. It does help. And the ribbon, I will say this, very important ribbon. If people are joining Cactar rooms and your unit does not have, I mean not Cactar, I mean Tonberry. If your unit is joining Tonberry rooms and it does not have a ribbon, try to use a unit that has stop resistance. Seriously. If you're autoing, like most importantly, and you do not have a ribbon and you don't have stop resistance, you're gonna have a very bad time. And we arrived to the end of the video. As always, if you like my raid preparation video, please leave a like and or subscribe. And maybe, like, I don't know, I guess you could leave a suggestion for me. Maybe I thought about releasing these raid videos a little bit earlier. However, if the timing is wrong, it gets buried kind of quickly when people actually need it, and we don't know exactly how Global is releasing everything. So I try to release it in a timely manner where it's announced for us, and I'm able to get it out within at least the day of it's announced. So sorry about that, but if a lot more people request it, like just to come out earlier, I could try and do that if possible. The problem with that also is that we don't know when units are coming out, etc. Like specifically for Winter Venera, I didn't have her originally in the slides, but because she came out literally last week, I had to quickly edit everything and add her in. So yeah, there's stuff like that. So anyways, until the next video, have fun raiding and preparing for it, and peace out.